do want to talk to you guys today about subconscious identity. I've been doing a lot of, and I've always been drawn to sort of this self-help world. And I've always been fascinated by the coaching field of how you can transform the minds and really challenge the beliefs that you hold. Because here's the thing, recently, after doing years of work, right? Years of being frustrated, and I'm feeling like always spinning my wheels and really being so miserable and just creating so much hard work and suffering and always hustling and doing the things, I realized it was my tendency to really sabotage the very thing that I was trying to accomplish because of the identity of who I think I am. Let me better explain. So we have this way of appearing in this world, and what we know to be true is what we want to attach to. That's our consciousness. And you guys all have had wild dreams where you see things and you feel things. And I don't know, sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night, like just sobbing and crying because the events in my dreams were so real, right? And then you would have moments of, aha, there must be a force greater than, or you have experiences like deja vus where, oh my gosh, I've been exactly here saying the same thing, doing the same thing. And you have these enlightened moments, right? But those are the things where I want you to explore what is conscious, like what you tangibly see and touch is not all of it. And no matter how learned you might be, whether you're a medical doctor, you have a PhD, you're a nutritionist, and you want to hold on to the tangible education system and really be deeply committed to the dogma that you bought into because of the years of education, and you were taught and indoctrinated to do a thing only a certain way, we never really question that, right? To question that, to detach from the thing that we think we know and the identity that we hold. Because if I were to ask you, who are you, right? And you know what most people would say? Well, I would say, I'm Connie, and I am a physical therapist. See, I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a so-and-so's mom. I am so-and-so's wife, husband, whatever, right? We have a title, but that title isn't really who you are. Your subconscious identity has been something that's been learned, but then there's a side of you that's learned that you're playing out consciously by the rules and interpretations and how you manifest who you think you are. So in actuality, you're just playing out a role you think you are. For example, there's many of the people in my profession, really in the medical field, we're so left-brained that for a long time in my physical therapy field, we used to say evidence-based practice, evidence-based, evidence-based. So to introduce something esoteric or something abstract like traditional Chinese medicine would be something, if you look at the research, it's boo-food, or whatever the word is. And chiropractic, like energy medicine, like Reiki, is something that you just kind of dismiss because there's no scientific facts to validate that it works. But then on the flip side, if you get into this new agey energetic fields and worlds and the yoga, the way we interpret and experience our own transformation, but we can't really put into words tangibly exactly what happened. It's not a scientific formula. Sometimes it's an experience. It's an inner knowing. But for so long, my left-brained, the way I was conditioned, I would ignore my intuitive sense in lieu of and really buy into the dogmatic ways because that's what feels like what's touted as best in this world. But today I want to kind of offer up the fact that it's the timeless insights that you have within you, that it's ancient wisdom, if you will. Your subconscious identity that you're playing out right now consciously in this 3D world right now is really the identity that you learned. It's really not who you are. And so I want you to be able to this year, as you embark on 2021, don't get tied to the role, right? I want you to think about who you are in a deeper way, because your subconscious identity is really what's ruling you. It's really what's allowing you to play out in your life. And if you have limitations in what you believe to be true, those beliefs really aren't true. And so really 99% of what we believe to be true is really not true. Because if you go over to any different type of specialty or profession, what they hold true, their dogmatic viewpoints, are true for them. But you go across and you talk to somebody else, like let's say Reiki field over here to like the MD field over there, they would tell you complete opposite. And having been able to explore all different types of professions, from psychology to physical medicine to really functional medicine to even yoga and traditional Chinese medicine and energy medicine, for my own self-healing, as well as getting really in-depth educated in that field, I've come to realize no one is right. In fact, there is no left or right, or there is no right or wrong. It's just things have a spectrum. And it's when you can learn that life is really a paradox and that it's a duality, right? It goes waves back and forth. The only thing you can hold true for you is to understand where your belief systems come from, your subconscious identity, how that's being played out, and how you are living your life right now. And understand that if you don't like where you are right now, your relationships, and if you're constantly broke, barely making it by, and you don't like your career, or your health is declining, it's what you're creating based off of the identity that you are. You're being the person you believe you are. So for example, as a physical therapist for a long time, my income was capped at a certain amount. And so as long as I kept it there, as a business owner, you can scale and grow big, right? So that ceiling is, higher. But I meet a lot of yoga teachers that really believe it's like it's their passion, but they can't make money in it. But nothing can be further from the truth, right? But you can't add to the noise of the echo chamber and say the same thing everybody else is saying. You do have to differentiate yourself. But the very thing is, your subconscious identity of what you hold and what you believe to be true is what you're really playing out. So if you think you're going to be struggling, you're never going to make a success, but you dare to do differently, and this year you might have set some goals on most of the people set goals based on their behaviors, right? On the doing, not the being. So if you don't really check yourself in how you're being, your subconscious identity, and who you believe you are, and question those beliefs, if you're not liking what you see in your life, and you keep doing a little more, a little different, a little better every year, you're always going to be in your lane, creating more of the same. So I challenge you to really look deep within. I've created the framework called the alkaline method. And it's a framework that I use to teach my yoga teachers and my practitioners to really scan and make sure that those pillars are being addressed. It's a way to sort of ask better questions within you, as well as to emerge out of you to make sense of the world, so you can optimize your life, so that you can truly be elevated in your being, so that you can expand your mind, so that you can accomplish all things and make everything a possibility, as well as to empower you to do the thing that you need to be doing to really create anything that you want. Because look at me, I want you to know, anything you can conceive, you can create. It's that feelings come up, fear comes up. There's underlying doubt and fear and not good enoughism that kind of rules your life. So no matter how many certificates that you have, you might not fully taking, or you're not fully stepping into being that person you want to be. You're just setting goals on the small goals that you set, so much so that you do the doing, you're going to revert back to your subconscious identity. So the deeper work really is to change who you are being right here and right now, so that you can do the things from a place of being that person, so that you can have all the things that you want. Because it's in the way you visualize who you believe you to be. So this is not just woo-woo science. This is in the placebo and the nocebo effects. It's in the works of Deepak Chopra. And this is the Joseph Dispenza, Dr. Dispenza's work as well. And this is really healing at its best. It's when you hold the doubt and the fear within you, you immediately talk yourself out of it. So the biggest struggle and obstacle to your success is between your ears. And so that's what you want to work on through the alkaline method, right? So I want to introduce you to the inner pillar so you can kind of see how this all plays out. So I want you to think about the deepest inner part of you. That's your foundation. Physically, it's your base of support. It's your anchor. It's your deep roots in what you believe. Here's the thing. Your belief is nothing other than thoughts. So the thoughts thought over and over again, which became your belief. The problem is when it's your belief, you don't ever question it. In your mind, that's your truth. So you don't ever question it. You just think, okay, I can only make this much. That's true for you. That's your truth. And that's what you create. That's exactly what I want to refute, right? So that's your foundation down at the bottom, pillar number 1. Second pillar is that based on that belief, you're aligned in how you show up in your life. That's in alignment. Your foundation is in alignment with how you show up and what you're creating. The third pillar is your core vision, core mission, and core values that you hold dearly. It's the core that is never, ever exercised or explored. Nobody ever asks you who you are. No, really, who you are on the inside. What core values are important to you, right? Nobody really asks you that. And so through you kind of understanding foundationally where you are, where you're faulty in your belief, especially if you're not liking what you're creating in your life, and then understanding that everything that you do is in alignment is your foundational belief. And then better yet, the third pillar, get to know your core values and core vision and mission, and then go back to your foundation and decide that you're going to change your foundation and then align yourself so that you're consistent in alignment with your core, so that you now have access to create anything and everything you want. And then when you emerge outside to the outer pillars, the fourth pillar is your polarity. It's the dichotomy and paradox of life. You're able to better embrace the negative to the positive, feeling sad to being happy, and you're choosing joy over being sad and thinking the thoughts that serve you rather than being stuck in the subconscious identity of sabotage. I hope this is making sense. The fifth pillar is breath and being present. As life throws curveballs and anything might happen like last year, you're able to breathe and be in the moment and trust and have faith over fear that everything will work out. And this is a lesson that life is throwing at you. And how you're going to show up is to rise above it and just breathe in, and you knowing that it's going to pass. And then the sixth pillar is balance. Balance is all about creating equanimity from the foundation, but also understanding as you evolve and grow, your foundation needs to be adjusted, and then your alignment and your core values shift and change to create this outer reality for you. That's the pillars in order. And then there's the elements, right? Really, at the end of the day, the reason why I keep saying interconnectedness is because I rely on really timeless insights rather than scientific evidence. Because scientific evidence is so limited by the biases that we bring. It's human interpretation. At the end of the day, yes, it's a little bit more objective. But, I've seen murky waters down there deep in the trenches of research, and I know what happens. It's heavily biased based on which direction and what era you live, and it's based on self-fulfilling prophecy. we validate what we believe. So, I mean, who conducts these research? It's humans, right? Humans, we have room for error. And so I don't believe wholeheartedly in the research. I take it with a grain of salt and understanding that really my guidance over here is timeless insights that I kind of go into, right? And so understanding that, when I think about the physical being, it's nutrition and movement. Movement through asanas, because I love yoga as movements, breath with movement. That's mindful movement, right? That's physical, but you can see the choices in the foods and then the movements, or coming to the yoga class or not, or doing the class or not, is in large part determined by a person's psychology. So next element to that is neuropsychology. Under that wing, there is our mind, our thoughts, and then there's our feelings, emotions, and then there's the actions that we take, the behavior, right? And so those three things are in large part dictated by our minds. So I really want to work with you this year, really working on the mindset, the neuropsychology, and then bring that piece, the mind, thoughts, and your feelings and how that drives your actions, because your actions are really the choices that you're making physically to get the right foods or to decide to move or not, go to the yoga class or not. It's not a matter of do the yoga better, because that's like so superficial, but you have to go deeper than that to really unveil the layers of a human psyche, to understand all the layers. Because being a good yoga practitioner is what does that even mean? It doesn't really matter. What is healthy? Nutrition is, I don't know. It depends on your cultural values. You try to get me to eat, like, I don't know, Mediterranean food 365 days of the year because that's the healthiest, or Japanese food when I'm Korean. I'm going to have some soulful foods, and I'm going to prefer some cultural foods over the thing that I don't know, even if it's healthy for me. So you have to respect the person. And another person's medicine is another person's poison. And so it's all about intuitive eating. And so really timeless insights comes down to, can we teach our clients to be in tune with themselves? And yes, the answer is yes. Through the alkaline method, they learn to emerge and do the work inside so that they can appear and create the lives that they want, and ultimately health and success that they desire, knowing fully well that power is within them, utilizing these, considering these elements of human being, of physical. Under the physical wing, there was the elements of nutrition and asanas, yoga, right? And then under neuropsychology, there is our thoughts, feelings, and actions, behavior. And then spiritually, we evolve and grow. And then we are able to transcend the judgments over each other. We're able to be at a higher frequency to kind of have a bird's eye view of how our human lives are impacted by the relationships that we hold with ourselves. Sorry about that, you guys. So anyway, I hope this is all making sense, and I hope this is all coming together for you, and that this is really like, oh my goodness, I never thought of it this way. And this is what I would need you guys to be thinking about as we emerge into 2021. Sorry about that. So anyway, I'm going to cut out now because I feel like I've said everything I needed to say. So really, rather than working on the doing and setting goals for the behavior, like I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going to do this, think about how you're being. Think about where you are right now. How are you being right now? What's your subconscious identity right now? What's the indoctrination? What are some of the beliefs that you need to challenge to be a certain way, so that you can, do the things from that place so that you can manifest anything and everything that you desire. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to really cut out now because of my happy. And thank you so much for joining me. And if you haven't already, please join me in my free Facebook group in Facebook called Functional Yoga Medicine. And I'm in Instagram. I would love it if you follow me there at Functional Yoga Medicine, as well as Dr. Connie Jian. And then we have, as you know, we have a podcast. And so if you can tune in, subscribe, and leave me a review and comments to direct me better so that I can better manage the content that I produce for you, that would be so helpful and much appreciated. And thank you so much for joining in today. And I'll see you